Hello, my name is Robbie Fitzwater, and I own and operate Marketing Rhythm. We help e-commerce businesses with retention marketing, basically a lot of email marketing and SMS marketing. But one question we get asked all the time is, what is an email marketing calendar? What should my email marketing calendar look like? And how should I structure my email marketing calendar? Um, we're going to walk you through that. We have a different way we walk through this than I think you may a lot of people have seen. It's a little bit more visual, so if you're a visual oriented person, it's a really helpful tool, and hopefully it's going to make it a little bit easier for you to understand how to bring this to life in a little bit different way, and how to actually implement this in terms of planning and strategy, and how we can start to use that to leverage in terms of how we build our calendar. So at a high level view, what is an email marketing calendar? Basically, an email marketing calendar is a calendar that helps you understand how to create, schedule, manage, analyze, and structure your email sending so you can build consistent relationships, add value over time, and basically create a drumbeat of consistent communication that ideally adds value, engages, and educates and entertains your audience, so you can build that an engaged audience that ideally for those e-commerce businesses out there are going to have converting customers at the end of the day. So again, that's what we want to do. So let's walk you through kind of how we think about it. So where we want to start. So as opposed to saying, hey, we're going to go for this is like the single place to start, we start by asking some questions. So what is the frequency of in cadence you are currently sending? So if you're not sending any emails, you're starting from scratch, it's a blank canvas, we can work with that, but it's you don't want to go from 0 to 100 right away. You want to ideally work your way into it, because again, going from 0 to 100 right away, it seems like it's going to be daunting for you, it's going to be challenging for your team, and it's also going to be really tough on your audience, because like if they have never received many emails from you and you suddenly go really hard, that's not really a great user experience. So gradually ramping up into it. So understanding what does our current cadence look like? And then basically the second thing we think about is, how do we get into a consistent replicable rhythm? So because it's not possible to do this like just right out of the gate with like, again, kind of guns blazing, how do we build a consistent rhythm? Again, we always talk about like marketing rhythm, like finding your rhythm to grow your business. That's what we really want to focus on, is that consistency over intensity. When we can build consistency into our system, that's going to make that system a lot more functional in the long run, and going to make things a lot more predictable and scalable for us to bring to life. And then this is the third piece that I want you guys to all think about too, is what's the typical relevancy of your audience to your business at different times of the year, or basically just what's going to be relevant or important to them at different contextual times of the year. Do you sell products that are really valuable in the winter that keep people's hands cold? If you sell mittens, the winter is going to be your time, but in the summer you may not be the hottest commodity around. So again, does that mind of your audience look like? Or if you are kind of a year-round brand, what's going to be valuable and relevant for them at different times of the year? I know we've talked about cycling, like what cycling clothes you need in the summer, how do you stay warm cycling in the winter, how to clean your bike in the spring when it's raining. All of those things are going to be relevant to them. Those are things you want to be thinking about to be possibly incorporating into your marketing, to really maximize the value of it, and to really start to think like, hey, how can I be strategic about my calendar to align those insights and needs with what's going to be relevant for my audience? And that's really where a lot of that content really plays a large role into kind of maintaining the engagement of that audience. But again, not just like, again, sending discount. We always want to avoid that. That's like one of the things that kills us, is we see groups that like week 1, 10% off, week 2, 15% off, week 3, 20% off, week 4, 20% off and a ham sandwich. It's not necessarily a sustainable strategy. Hopefully, again, they're building some consistency there, but not necessarily the sustainable strategy, because again, you're essentially on a race to the bottom there, and on a race to the bottom, nobody wins. So those are 3 things you want to be thinking about early. And then also, where have you had success in the past? Where have you found success with your audience, and what have they engaged with? And that's kind of a good litmus test of where do you want to start? Where do you have content you could possibly share? What does your business's marketing calendar or promotional calendar look like too? So making sure this is going to be aligned tightly really helps you understand, hey, we have a large sale or a large warehouse clearance, like into summer, like large sale for the business. That's going to be important to have on your marketing calendar a few months out so you can be planning and predicting that. Because again, for those promotions, you probably want to have those at least a month to 6 weeks apart, just because again, when everything's a sale, nothing is a sale. So thinking strategically there, but also how do you make sure this is aligned with your broad overall marketing calendar is going to be also be really important. Making sure you align with all the different promotions, product rollouts, and different events you have going on really is going to help you make sure that you have everything covered, you're not missing anything, and you're not kind of forced to scramble or react later on. Essentially, this is a tool that allows us to be proactive as opposed to reactive, and yeah, it'll hopefully save you some time and headache in the long run. So I'm going to walk you through kind of the way we do this in structuring, hey, how do I plan for a month? Let's plan for a month, and then we can extrapolate that and kind of use that for a longer window of time. But let's plan for a general month, which is going to give us a good idea of like, hey, how do I do this? And then I'll show you how to like incorporate this into something else. But typically when we start the planning process, we want to think, hey, how do we get into a rhythm? Depending on how many sends you're going to be sending every single week, we like to have a consistent kind of piece of hub content for the skeleton of our structure. That just gives a nice foundation, a nice backbone, and a nice consistency that we can kind of build that consistency with our audience, so they're kind of trained to expect to receive content from us on a consistent basis. So we'll let these little dots right here be the hub pieces of the hub content or hub sends we're going to be sending every week or so. So depending on your calendar, we like to send like Tuesday or Thursday are really strong days to start for hub content. Tuesday, again, everybody's inbox is flooded on Mondays, so they're going to have a little bit of gap in between there. And on Friday, people tend to travel on the weekend, so it's a little bit of more of a hit or miss day. Tuesday or Thursday are kind of easy wins because it's a little bit more straightforward. Once you kind of understand your audience, you can kind of grow from there. But those are where we typically recommend starting from and using those as kind of your hub days. But with those hub days, like if this were a typical month, say this is the 1st, this is the 7th, this is the 14th, this is the 21st, this is the 28th. Say those are Tuesdays. This is where we want to be, again, hitting that consistent drumbeat with, again, content, or and relevant sends. So if you are a business with some type of content, some type of insights you can offer, thought leadership, any types of content that's going to be valuable for your audience, we recommend having up to 4 of those, just because like you're going to have different things you can pull from. So this may be how-tos. This may be like, again, feedback. It can be a number of different things that are going to be feedback or insights on your product or service. But basically those, again, those story arcs that we're going to be using, these themes, we're going to be pulling those down into our actual hub content. So it gives us some variety in those sends. If we send the same how-to email every single Tuesday, it's going to kind of lose its luster after a little while. So what can we do to make things engaging? What things can we do to keep that fresh and entertaining? But if we do this like how-to every month or once a month, we can get into a nice cadence and a nice rhythm of it. So we're not, again, reinventing the wheel, but again, we're kind of getting into a consistency and a consistent pattern that makes it a lot easier for us. So we're going to want to do that. So maybe say, hey, this first send of the month is how-to. Second send, maybe feedback. Third send, maybe surprising ways this works. Fourth send, maybe, again, kind of shooting from the hip of like, again, unique use cases or like customer testimonials or kind of user generated content. Those are really easy ways you can start to do that. And it's going to inform different areas of content you can be sending, but it's going to give you that nice consistency that kind of fits into the background of what you're going to be doing, that gives you a reason to send consistent emails. It's not just transactional and promotional. So this is kind of, the content emails are basically what maintains that relevance over time and gives us that consistency that we're not going to be just like bombarding people with transactional, like sales focused emails all the time. Nobody really loves that. But again, there's a need for those, so we do want to incorporate that. But these also open up the door for us to be able to do more of that, because essentially, like these, again, content emails are essentially kind of the lead into our joke. The punchline is a sale or promotion, but the lead in is going to make that punchline hit harder and be more effective, because it's, again, not necessarily just sell, 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 sell. We're leading in where there's some nuance there, and we're keeping and engaging and maintaining an audience that's going to be ready to buy when that time arises. So again, we're building that consistency through our hub content. If this were, once we kind of like start a rhythm and doing this consistently too, we may start a second hub email series that's maybe on on Thursdays each week. But early on, let's go Tuesdays, just once a week. So if we want to do this, again, it serves a great purpose in kind of giving us the foundation. But also, like, hey, say we have a sale or a promotion. That may be, again, a 3-day window. This is something we're going to be doing right here, where we can kind of build this nice little, like, we call it like a wave. Basically, a wave or promotion gives us a chance to kind of start this off here with an announcement, a did you know, and then a last chance. So it's kind of a nice compressed window. Again, for a larger promotion or a larger event that may be larger, we may even start it out farther to kind of build some anticipation early, but this kind of fits into this nice little package well. Also, if we're rolling out a new product, we can build a larger, more substantial wave here too, where we're essentially maybe, again, rolling it out as a longer window or longer time horizon, where we say, hey, we're rolling this out on the 22nd, and we may be shopping that around as early as the 10th. And I'm just kind of shooting from the hip on these dates, but essentially we can kind of say, hey, this is your chance to pre-order here. Or maybe saying, like, following up and saying, like, again, join our VIP list to get exclusive early access to it, where you may get it on the 21st as opposed to the 22nd. Those are all ways that we can start to build anticipation, build excitement, and kind of make sure that we're aligning all of those pieces together well, so we're not overlapping or we're not overserving or underserving anything. And then essentially when that 22nd arises, we can roll it out because we have a built-in audience and they're engaged. And then afterwards, we can also share follow-up, like, hey, the reviews are in, this is what people thought. That wave may go a little bit longer, but essentially this is what gives us a chance to incorporate, hey, our, again, kind of our hub content and our hygiene content to keep things going. And we may even incorporate like some hero content into here around the holidays, but it gives us a nice way of planning for a month in advance of what's going to be relevant, what's going to be valuable, and how do we kind of like have multiple touch points for each one of those pieces. I always joke, like, hey, this is basically planning for this ahead of time allows you to not be so much of a cowboy and shooting from the hip. That's why this is important. So the email marketing calendar is really important, because essentially you're not going to be shooting from the hip and trying new things all the time. Like, this is like, if I was, again, bad analogy again, if I'm going to start dancing, learning how to dance, I may learn how to dance in like a small, like, learn how to do a few moves, as opposed to like trying to break dance right away. Like, let's just make this scalable. Let's make this easy for ourselves. Let's try to gradually like roll into it smooth. So basically, what this allows us to do, and why this is important, it allows us to plan quarter to quarter, month to month, and allows us to prevent from falling behind on all of those things that, again, we want to be thinking about as a marketer, but we can't bring all to life. So when we are finally done with this and planning through, hey, what do we want to put on each one of those times, we can essentially flip this on its side and put it into a Google Sheet. So a Google Sheet, or whatever you're using, CoSchedule, whatever tool you want to use, and basically reverse engineer what those want to look like. Typically, if those hub content pieces are going to be in there, you can call out like new product rollouts as a secondary call to action, so it's really more aligned to, but also those templates are there, so you're not, again, creating those every single email from scratch, which makes your life a lot easier. Let's be honest. Nobody loves to like start from scratch. So again, it's important because it allows you to kind of avoid the problem of being reactive as opposed to proactive. And again, when times get crazy, or again, things get stressful, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the teeth. And every marketer knows that time where they've had to quickly adjust and change, and nobody loves that feeling. So this is where you can be more proactive as opposed to reactive and just do some really good work there. Basically, and also should function to give some more transparency to the rest of your team. And typically, if you're an email marketer and that's your role at a business, this allows you to kind of go from, again, being in the passenger seat to take more of a driver's seat position in structuring how your marketing calendar is planned and organized, and it gives us a nice foundation, because essentially, like, we can build off of this for our social team, our content team. And based on our editorial calendar, if we want to be, again, connecting this with our editorial calendar too, maybe we need to be building those emails at least 2 weeks out from when they're going to be released, so we're not doing that at the last minute and we're not making mistakes. If we have an editing process that kind of goes through a few different rounds, it gives us a window of time to make sure all of that is buttoned up, all our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed, which again gives everybody a little bit more to work with. So for the email marketing calendar, best practices for, again, implementing this. Like, what do we want to do to bring this to life for an e-commerce business, or again, for your business? Get into a rhythm of consistent sending. That's like one of the most important things, because you want to train your audience to receive emails at consistent times. I always think about this too, is like SNL doesn't go live because it's done. It goes live because it's 11 o'clock on a Saturday. That's one of those things you need to be thinking about, that consistency, and again, consistency over intensity. And basically, should be something that you kind of evolve and change over time. Whatever's going to be working best for you, whatever tool is best for you, use that, evolve that, and understand what's worked, what hasn't, and circle back around to see how you can incorporate different things into your mix, into your system. And as you're introducing different pieces of hub content, see what works well, and test and experiment, explore, and try different things. And when you have a good baseline and a good read on your audience, you should be able to understand what's going to work, what's not going to work, and how to evolve things. So you should always be kind of trying to evolve this at the end of the day, because again, if we want to be bringing this to life, we want to be making sure it's going to be moving with us. Marketing changes fast. We need to be evolving with it. So those are some of the best practices. That's kind of, that consistency is really something we harp on. And again, we kind of even name part of the business about like rhythm, because that rhythm plays a large role. So takeaways: a calendar is going to be something that helps you move from being reactive to proactive. Think about this in a consistent format, where you can think about this every month, every quarter, and basically when you follow that pattern of what's going to be relevant to your audience at different times, that's going to help inform and educate you around what you want to do at different times. Again, finding a few dance moves that you can do consistently, like not, again, going into break dancing right away, but get a few dance moves that you can do consistently. And I realize I'm dancing on camera right now, which is kind of great, but probably I'm a really bad dancer, let's be honest. But again, I don't need to start breakdancing anytime soon. So if I do a few dance moves and I get really good at them, I can maybe like spin around next time. Just look how graceful that is. Or not graceful. But essentially, hopefully it gives you guys a little bit better idea about how to bring this to life. If you guys have questions, let us know. Hopefully, again, if you have any other insights or tips, let us know. And again, we're always looking for feedback and perspective. Yeah, this is Robbie Fitzwater with Marketing Rhythm, and we'll see you guys around. Bye-bye.